In this segment, Stephanie Miller and her guests discuss ICE and Trump's deportations and what may come next.
Donald Trump. You got this. This is the worst possible case, and that was Justice Kagan, former Solicitor General Kagan's point, to bring up to the Supreme Court on the procedural, technical issue of when you can issue a nationwide injunction. You want to go up on a case where you have a chance at winning, where the court thinks that ultimately your position is right.
So why did they bring this case?
Donald Trump, because let's say you work for Donald Trump, you're the Solicitor General, okay? And you want to go and say, Donald Trump, look, I won something for you, okay? Because you don't want to go and see the president say and explain like, well, we lost because you took a stupid effing position. Right.
That wouldn't go over very well.
You want to say, look, it's amazing, we won this. And it's like everything else. It's fake. It's like it's like the deals. They're all fake. Everything's fake. And this was an attempt to create a fake victory, thinking that the number of the justices don't like nationwide injunctions, and there's a good reason to. It cuts both ways. I mean,
That's right.
We could have a legal seminar.
Thank you for your post. You said you can't claim to be a country of law and order when you have a convicted president who openly solicits and accepts bribes. This is not normal. We just can't say it enough that this is not normal, right?
Yeah, it's insane, and it bugs me. It bugs the heck out of me that when you watch TV, and I would say even folks on like my favorite channel, MSNBC, are guilty of treating him like a normal president. He is not. He is not by any stretch of the imagination. And I'm not just saying that as, a vehement Trump detractor, Trump critic. I'm saying this as a person with a working brain who can see this guy's behavior, his lies, his blatant bribes, just the insanity, the daily insanity, the chaos. None of this is normal, and none of it should be treated as normal.
Yeah. Right. I have to say, maybe because of my schedule too, but Nicole Wallace is pretty much, the only show I watch now. But she also has those human moments. Like, she burst into laughter yesterday, and she's like, I'm sorry, I just am trying to keep from crying. Like, because it was some ridiculous, like, Trump soundbite she played that you just were all, I kept saying, this is like some bad acid trip. For those of us that lived through 9/11 in New York, like you did, I'm like, he's standing between the former head of Al Qaeda and a bonesaw guy, MBS, and they're doing the thumbs up, and he's dancing to YMCA with the bonesaw guy in Saudi Arabia, where all the hijackers were from, right? I mean,
well, to be fair, one of them helped him have like the second tallest building in New York, on 9/11.
I think
sounds, I'm not the guy responsible for bragging about that on 9/11.
I think I heard that live, Majid. I was driving, because I was working for Oprah at that time on Oxygen. I was driving in from Westchester, and I heard them reporting the planes hitting the tower, and I think I heard that interview on the way back with Trump going, "Well, now I have the tallest building," and I'm like, did that ghoul just say? Yep. What did he just say? I mean, how is there's 11 billion things should have disqualified him from ever being anywhere near the Oval Office, right?
Yeah. And I just watched a clip from, I guess it was from early this morning, where he's, giving a press conference somewhere there in the Middle East, and he was praising Saudi Arabia, and he was praising Qatar, and he was trashing United States presidents. And I was like, what is this? I mean, you wouldn't even expect that from George W. Bush. Previously, George W. Bush was the gold standard of like bad presidents. He was the worst. Right. The worst. You didn't think anybody would be worse, maybe with the exception of Richard Nixon, right?
Yeah.
and along comes Donald Trump, who makes
right.
George W. Bush look statesmanlike,
And-
because
and-
he never trashed
Right.
his predecessors.
And by the way, George Bush's blistering incompetence is what caused 9/11. He's the one that, didn't listen to the warnings despite them being very specific and very explicit, because they were like, "Oh, BJ guy told us, Bill Clinton, so who cares what he's is warning us about?" So, but you're right. At least he wasn't palling around with them like Donald Trump is. I mean, what's his name? Lutnick is like jollying it up with the guy, and he lost all of his employees at Cantor Fitzgerald that day, and he's like, over there yucking it up with the Saudi guy, right?
Well, Howard Lutnick, let's keep in mind, is that same guy who said, well, if my 90-year-old mother-in-law missed a Social Security check,
Right.
she's not going to gripe about it. And the people who scream about it the loudest are the fraudsters. And you couldn't be more disconnected from reality.
Tell your whiny
than
mom.
That guy.
Tell your whiny mom to shut up about her Social Security check. I mean, okay. You just said Trump has thoroughly destroyed the prestige and honor of the office of the President of the United States by selling himself and openly accepting bribes. He is officially the prostitute of the United States. And we were saying every story has a more ridiculous level. That Cutter's been trying to get rid of this stupid used plane since 2020. Like, he's the biggest sucker in the world.
Yeah.
On top of it, take this used thing that we're going to fill with bugs. And I mean, it's just, right? That you get to keep, and you get to keep the plane. Okay.
That's too funny. Yeah, you know what? I heard people talking about retrofitting this thing so that it would be usable, and it would end up costing the American taxpayer $1 billion, and it would take several years. And frankly, I don't care if he's flying around in that thing and with a lot of bugs. And this is where I hate myself for saying that, because I should not be rooting for the bad guys to get our sensitive info. But this is
especially
kind of where
when Trump will just give it to them.
Insanity has left me.
Trump will just give it to them anyway, depending on how much cash someone puts in his pocket. I mean,
yeah.
I loved your piece because it's so New York. The Times Square trick that explains Trump's whole con. And you said the most dangerous and basic and dangerous tourist trap game I've ever seen in New York City is played in Times Square, the Three-Card Monte. Explain to those of us outside the 718 or the 212.
So it was my pleasure to take a walk down memory lane about Three-Card Monte. And the reason I brought it up is because that game, everybody's seen a version of that game. It's 3 cards, right?
Yeah.
3 cards folded the long way. And they're next to each other on a table. Usually this is like a makeshift, cardboard or milk crate table. Something that you don't care about, because if the cops show up, you're kicking that thing over and you're running.
Right.
And there are 2 black cards, a club and a spade, and the other one is a red card, like a diamond or a heart, right? And the trick is you have to keep your eye on the red card. And if you happen to be walking down the street in New York City and you see one of these, just keep walking, folks. Just keep walking, because it is a trap and it is a trick. You are not meant to win this game, despite the fact that they make it look so winnable.
Right.
First of all, there's 7 to 10 people standing around this thing, and they're clapping, as each person plays. Someone will bet $100 and they'll win.
Yep.
And everybody claps, yay. And then somebody will bet $100 and they'll lose. And that guy acts like, he just got bitten by a mosquito. It's like, oh, it's no big deal. And everybody standing there has a thick knot of money.
Yeah.
And that's the key right there. Because you see that thick knot of money and you see so many people having all this cash, and you're like, I want some too. And it looks so easy. And that's how they reel you in. And before you know it, you're watching that red card. Somebody distracts you. They'll say cop, or someone will bump you, or something.
It's like Trump does with the news cycles. Look over there. It's like,
exactly.
cop.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And that's why I brought it up.